Hi, everyone. Good morning. I think we can start. We have enough people to start now. So, good morning, everyone. It's with great pleasure that I welcome everyone to this first in many series of upcoming webinars for our valued customers and partners. Today, we'll be looking at getting ahead of threats with elastic attack discovery. So today I have in the panel my humble self. My name is Chibuzom Buka. I'm the VP for Sales Engineering. And also I have Roberto from the Elastic team and also Mohammed Anas. So I think we can kick things up. So from my side, I'll be taking you through, giving you some insights on who Data Group IT is, how we operate in the market, and also giving you some context because we're talking about threats today. Give you some context around who are these threat actors and how, what are the methodologies that they use in order to give some context to the presentation that the Elastic team will be giving us today. So let me turn off my camera to save myself some bandwidth. So Data Group IT, we're a value-added distributor. We've been around for over 15 years, operating in over 20 countries today. Our core competence is on cybersecurity. Today, we have like 5% of our portfolio focused on infrastructure technologies, but our whole team is trained and skilled up in cybersecurity. From our sales team to our pre-sales team, the entire team is focused on cybersecurity. And when we say we are a value-added distributor, we add value to the channel, to our partners, to our customers. We serve as the trusted advisors to our customers. We are focused on solutions only. We are not product pushers, so we try to understand the challenges that the customer has and align our technologies to those challenges. We have 3 regional hubs, one in Nigeria covering the West Africa hub. The second is in Nairobi, Kenya, covering the East Africa hub. And then we have the Southern Africa hub, which has the HQ in Johannesburg, South Africa. So this gives us that leverage to really spread out in the region. But today we have local people in over 20 countries supporting our customers, speaking with them, understanding their challenges, and offering the best in breed technologies to them. In terms of financial capacity, we've grown over 500% in the last 5 years. And we keep growing every year, even in spite of the challenges in operating in Africa. We keep growing because we understand the unique challenges that Africa face and the unique technologies that work in Africa. So we're talking about threats today, right? So who are the main threat actors? Because, for us to give some context on understanding how we can use Elastic for attack discovery, we need to understand who these main threat actors are. So I categorize them into 4, right? So in some documentations, you'll see some categorizing it into 5, but I'll mention the 5th one. First is the insider threats. So this has to do with a disgruntled staff or someone that, for example, I was reading something last week whereby a North Korean citizen was employed by one of the big tech companies. They did a lot of background checks and everything, but they didn't know it's someone that was really placed in such a way that he can get a lot of information from that tech company. So we see a lot of these things happening in the industry. It might be somebody that is managing the DB. He might just, because he's angry that he didn't get a pay raise, he can start deleting information and all that and causing harm to the organization. He can also be paid by a competitor, right? Whereby he can steal a lot of information. This is the most malicious that we've seen because it's hard for you to come from outside, but it's easy when you're already in the inside. You know, you have a lot of information, you have a lot of visibility into a lot of things. Maybe the person is maybe an admin to different that has different access to different things, right? So this has to do with maybe the person wants to cause sabotage, he wants to get financial gains or business advantage for the competition, right? We see a lot of these things happening. And this comes into play when organizations have weak policies and procedures, or even if they don't have, even if they have strong policies, but adherence to those policies are not being implemented. So this is one area that we think customers need to be looking at, and solutions like data loss prevention solution to make sure that people don't have unauthorized access to different resources in the organization. Then we have the second threat actor, which is the activist, right? So we see a lot of demonstrations globally now where a lot of people are trying to make statements. People are not happy with the government. Maybe this Ukraine-Russian war, a lot of people are picking sides. These guys can try to make a statement to government. They might try to attack organizations that are linked to the government. They might attack a government website just to make a statement. They might steal government information, government secrets, and post it on the dark web, so that everyone can have access to it. So we see organizations like WikiLeaks, Anonymous, they employ these cyber weapons to advance their political agenda. So we see it a lot globally happening. So being aware of this kind of threats, especially if if you're a government employee or if you are charged with protecting government assets and government resources, or if you're a partner that is selling in the government space, it's also good that you know these things and know how you can protect your customers in that space, right? So we have the cyber criminals, right? So these guys are the ones that do it for money, right? So those that we see a lot of ransomware attacks today. They tell you they encrypt your files and then they tell you to pay via Bitcoin. So these guys do it for money. They are the cyber criminals. We see them everywhere. Like they want to make financial gain out of it. So the fourth threat actor that we have is the state sponsored. Really, these guys are the ones that are really very sophisticated because they are well funded. So we hear about advanced persistent threats. Mostly it comes from the state sponsored attackers, right? So they try to steal military information. They try to steal technology information to give them keep them ahead of their competition in terms of other countries, so that they can have the best information, the best technologies to be able to be ahead of other countries. So most of the attacks come through email phishing. They send emails to you and then you click on it, then a lot of malware is installed on your system. So they steal a lot of those information. Most times they don't cause harm, they just try to steal a lot of information. So the fifth one I said I was going to mention was the script kiddies. Right, someone that just goes to the internet, learns about how to run some scripts and know how to do some codings. He wants to try it out on a government, on maybe an e-commerce website to see if they have the best security on their website. We see a lot of them happening also. They are just playing, right? They're just trying to catch fun and by doing all those things. So that's the fifth side. So these are the threat actors. So whatever attack that you have today for would be from each of any of these actors that I just mentioned today. It can be inside threat, it can be activists, it can be cyber criminals, it can be state sponsored, but it's also good that we are aware of it. So like I said, we're talking about threats. So how does an attack really happen? For an attacker to attack you, how does it really happen? The first stage is the reconnaissance stage, or what we call in abbreviation, recon stage, right? So this is where the attacker gathers a lot of information and footprints about you. Maybe they go to your social media account or your LinkedIn profile, they get your email, they get your phone number, they get your picture. Some of them, if your location is on your mobile device, they try to get your location to see where you post all the time. Maybe you post on social media, you always add location. So they do all those gathering of information. It's just like a bank robber, right? So before they steal from a bank, they'll go and look at, okay, you watch a lot of movies around that. They will go and look at how many guards are in the bank, um, what kind of security they have, where is the policeman always staying. So that's also the same thing these attackers do. They go to the internet, gather a lot of information that they can gather about you. Actually, there are two types of recon stage that we have. We have the passive and the active. The passive is really um, the recon stage whereby it's kind of legal because getting someone's phone number, getting the email of a CEO is not something illegal, right? But the active recon has to do with when you gather the IP address of a particular organization, you gather the DNS server, you're looking for open ports on their firewall, you look for username and password, you look for company software. Somebody might say, why is an attacker interested in the company software? So if he knows, for example, a company is using Cisco, for example, he can go online and say, what are the current vulnerabilities in this Cisco device? So in that way, he can be able to plan an attack using that vulnerability. That's why we really advise our customers have a good patch management practice whereby you patch these vulnerabilities that exist in your security devices, your systems and all that, making sure that even your IoT devices, making sure that they are fully patched and all that. The second stage is the exploitation stage, right? So this is where the attacker tries to take advantage of the vulnerabilities that exist on the system in order to gain access to the environment. So you see a lot of phishing attack and business email compromise that happen. Emails are sent to you that you don't know about. You can just click on it and then a malware is installed on your system. So that's why we also advise our customers on a good email security practice. You can have a good email security solution and all that. So also around weak passwords, this is where it comes into play, where your password can be guessed, right? We see a lot of brute force attacks happening when you have a weak password. The third stage is the privilege escalation stage. This is that stage whereby the attacker tries to gain overall control of the targeted system. So for an attacker to do anything on your system, it needs admin rights. So this is where it tries to create accounts, where it tries to look for admin accounts, try to assume the privilege of those admin accounts. So this is where we tell our customers on a good privilege access management solution or a good privilege access management practice in order to prevent this kind of attacks. Because when an account is trying to escalate its privilege, you can actually catch it using if you have a privilege account security solution. Then the next stage is for the attacker to establish persistence. We've seen a lot of attacks that happen, right? Because the attacker, what he's trying to do, obviously, is trying to gain continuous attacks, continuous access rather, because he wants, for example, the fact that he has access now, he wants to continuously have access until he completes the mission of the attack, right? So we see a lot of them happening, especially with advanced persistent attacks. We see the fact that they try to create backdoors. Most times the network administrators, they try to disable a lot of it, they try to fight back, try to do a lot of things, but you see the hacker keeps coming back. The hacker keeps coming back, right? So because the hacker has established a persistence in the targeted system. So it tries to create remote access. It tries to create that backdoor that it can always have access to. So that's what the attacker does at this stage. Then the fifth stage is the attack proper, right? So this is when the attacker has succeeded in gaining access to the system and now is launching the actual attack. So this is where it has to do with data extraction. Maybe the main aim of the attack is to extract data and information. Also, it can also be that he wants to corrupt the current information that exists in the system And also when it can also do malware injection at that stage, So this is where it has gained control of the system. Now it's now he's making sure that it's successful in what he is doing. The last stage is the cover up. So this stage is optional, right? So it can be that the hacker wants you to know that you've been attacked, or he doesn't want you to know. Like a ransomware attack, they want you to know that you've been attacked. Maybe for hacked fist, they want you to know that you've been attacked. But if it's really for data extraction, they want to steal it and they don't want you to know. So this involves things like trying to delete the event logs, trying to erase command history and all that, so that you don't know that you've been attacked, so that they can actually come back again and steal those information. So these are the 6 different stages of any threat or any attack before it happens, and all that. So for you to really protect yourself from this attack methodology I've mentioned, in Data Group IT, we categorize our solutions into 6 different pillars. So what we advise our customers always is to have layers of security. So when you have layers of security, you can really be ahead of attacks like this. So we categorize it to data security, network security, application security, user security, cloud, and mobile. So this has to do with making sure that at every stage, at every point, you are protected from any of these exit points that exist in your environment. And there are a couple of solutions under these different pillars that can assist our customers to make sure that they are protected. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your attention. I'll hand over to the Elastic team to continue with the presentation.
Thanks very much, Chibuzo. Really enjoyed that. Very insightful. I'm going to share out my screen now and hoping we can move on to how we can get through all that data and how we can help organizations understand modern attacks and getting ahead of them, hopefully with AI. So yeah, if I can get a thumbs up from someone that the screen's coming through clearly, the audio is coming through clearly, then I'll turn my camera off and we'll go from there.
All good,
Cool.
Roberto.
Thank you. Thanks, Anas. So excellent. Camera goes off. And yeah, essentially what I want to talk about today is, well, firstly, let me introduce myself, Roberto Rico. I'm a senior solutions architect, and I'm joined by my colleague, Anas, who's a solutions architect from our global security specialist group. If you do want to reach out to us, our contact details are there. Both our public community Slack, our email addresses, and our LinkedIn. We're often posting useful information and articles and things there. So if you think about security today, the pace of change has never been this fast, and it will never again be this slow. What that basically means is business security, how we interact is increasing every single day. It used to be we had phone calls, then it was emails, now it's WhatsApps, instant messaging, Slack, Teams, etc. We are moving at a fast pace, and it's only getting faster. So if you think things are going quickly now, if you think change is happening quickly now, it's going to only happen even faster as we leverage new technologies and new tools. The consequence of that is we are creating an enormous mountain of data. It's predicted to be 480 million terabytes. That's at exabytes there per day by 2025. Now, if you think about that, that's data from just what we do. That's data we use to inform decisions. That's, everything that we're doing online, anything we're doing with our phones, anything that we are shopping for, etc. We are generating data. And that translates into security operations. The challenges that we have nowadays with security operations, we're quite aware of these. We were taken through them earlier, looking at all of those steps. We're trying to find things like, where are these attacks coming from? What patterns do I need to have? Do we have the visibility? Can we even see what's happening? Our users are now working from home. Our users are now working from coffee shops. They're dialing in. If I say dialing in, that just shows my age. They're remoting in via VPN, or they're using cloud services. So do we have visibility in those areas? can we get through the volume of data in time so that we can spot attacks quickly, so we can flag anomalies quickly? Do we have the analytics, both from the terms of people to the technologies to do it? Do we have context around these attacks? I grew up with in the days of antivirus, where I would get an alert saying I've detected a bad file. And nowadays that's not good enough. It's not just about here's a bad file. It's in what context is this running? Attackers are using built-in processes. They live off the land. They live off whatever's in an operating system in order to leverage their attacks. So we have to have context as to why things are happening. And again, as I mentioned, there is just simply too much data. So effectively today, data is the common denominator when we look at security operations. I think this pretty much holds true, but yeah, we'll wait for questions at the end if you'd like to comment on that statement. And from a security operations team, they are struggling with alert overload. Okay, some of these figures are taken from American organizations, but effectively what we're seeing is the number of alerts that a SOC team receives daily is just not possible to investigate accurately with today's tooling. And unfortunately, this is a common story. So even if we take away the 4,482, if it was simply 100 alerts a day that your team got, and it took you an hour, let's say, to analyze one alert, that's 100 hours that you're spending every single day. A day that only has 24 hours. So you are constantly falling behind, which is why nearly 100% of SOC teams fear missing a relevant security event, because you're so busy dealing with alerts that might be low value, might be false positives, or there just might be too many of them, that it's almost impossible to get to that relevant security event. That's the big challenge that we're having today. And again, it's driven by data. So this is where Elastic steps in. We were founded in 2012, initially as a search company. So our founder, quite funny actually, the way Elastic started back in 2012 as an open source product was because our founder's wife was training to be a chef and she needed a way to search through her recipes to find out, I've got these ingredients, what can I make with this? So he actually just got together using some open source tools and developed this thing. That thing then grew into the ELK stack, Elastic, Logstash, and Kibana, which has now become Elastic as the company today. We have over 3,000 employees. I myself joined the company at the beginning of this year. We have employees all around the world. We are a fully distributed organization. So someone somewhere at Elastic is awake at any given time. And the stat that we're particularly proud of is we have over 4.5 billion downloads of our software. So as I mentioned, we started with open source. We do still have a free and open version, which is available to download and run. It won't have some of the enterprise features, but we also aren't tracking who's downloading it. You're not signing up to a marketing database or anything like that. So the software as a free and open is available to you. And we typically say walk into any organization, at some point somewhere you'll find someone is using Elastic or parts of the Elastic stack. So we're very, very proud of that. We're not going anywhere. We're definitely an organization that's here to stay. And effectively what we are as a search analytics platform is providing solutions based on data. So instead of thinking of us as a traditional SIM or an observability platform, or as, pigeonholing us into one area, we're able to do multiple things, because what we've realized is use cases these days often rely on the same data. So organizations will put in a tool like a SIM, they'll put it in EDR, and then they'll put in something to monitor their servers, for example, in terms of uptime or in terms of performance. But yet they're all monitoring similar things. You're now paying 3 times for the same data. Many use cases that will drive a security use case are also applicable for observability or even for search. And you'll see that as we go through and how we do this. So primarily our platform deals with data. And that means we have to be able to ingest pretty much anything which we can do. We have to be secure and we have to scale, because data can scale quickly. If you're under any kind of cyber attack, if you're having any kind of operational issue, the amount of logs generated and the alerts, etc., will increase. You need to make sure that you can scale for that and that you obviously keep it secure. Based off of all that data, we also enable AI and machine learning to help you look for anomalies, to help drive decisions, and to help remain secure, as you'll see in our demonstration. And obviously, you must be able to search through this data. It's no good just having a big repository of data doing nothing. It has to be usable. It has to be searchable. We enable visualizations that are flexible to be able to chart or graph or see what is important to you and again inform those decisions. And then finally, automate workflows to make life easier. So not just highlighting areas of improvement or issues, but being able to integrate and solve those problems as well. So this is where we say we are a search analytics platform. From a security perspective, however, this is roughly how we do things. So it's all about bringing your data, be it cloud data, be it network routers and switches, network infrastructure, host data, user data. It doesn't really matter what you're using. We have over 400 out-of-the-box integrations and the flexibility to add your own custom integrations as well. Again, using AI to help you understand the format and to enable a rapid import of data as well. That is a brand new feature we released literally yesterday, and it is amazing. That data gets ingested into our platform. We can also provide you with EDR/XDR type functionality. We do include an agent that can provide protection for your operating systems, Windows, Mac, Linux, your cloud containers, your cloud providers, your servers, etc. However, this is optional. What I will say is the way Elastic is licensed is you are not paying per agent. You are not paying per module or per functionality. Your license covers you for the platform, and that's it. Now, obviously, we would need to estimate the size of that platform based around resources. That gets taken care of you if you're going for one of our cloud offerings. If you're going on-premise, as I know most of the African countries do, then we'll be able to help you with sizing the appropriate hardware to run on it. But an Elastic license is the license. You don't need to add additional features. You don't need to pay for extra functionality. If you're on the enterprise license, it's all available to you. You can turn things off and on however makes sense to you. We believe in flexibility. We believe in the ability of organizations to make choices. So once that data has been ingested, in order for us to be able to search it, process it, and make sense of it, we have to normalize it. We have to transform it to make sense. And we do that based on our ECS, our Elastic Common Schema. And again, this is important because your data must make sense no matter where it comes from, so that a host name will always be a host name and an IP address will always be an IP address. Therefore, when I'm searching, when I'm creating rules, when I'm doing my dashboards and reporting, alerting, as I mentioned, it must make sense to me and it must be standardized. We do also conform to the Open Telemetry Convention, which makes it very easy to share data among vendors as well. So we're not a solution that says, just give us everything and we'll hold on to it. We're happy to share. We're happy to provide the data to other organizations and other platforms as needed. Again, very unique for Elastic is the ability to do cross-cluster searching. So if you do use multiple cloud providers, if your data is resident in different S3 buckets or Amazon storage or anything like that, or Azure, by all means, keep it there. We can search into those clusters as well from your Elastic platform. You don't need to pay costs to move your data out. So again, we like to be flexible. We like to make sure that you can use the data so that it makes sense to you, etc. And then finally, all this is great, but being able to integrate with the third party, such as a ticketing system, such as automation, orchestration, and response tooling, such as an LLM or an AI, which Anas will show you in the demo, or even for notifications like Slack or Teams or things like that. Making sure that when something happens, when an alert is triggered, your teams are aware of it as soon as possible. So if we're looking security, how has SIEM evolved? Back in the day, and I used to work for a SIEM provider many, many years ago, it was very much where we are on the left-hand side, SIEM 1.0 in the early 2000s. SIEM had just become a thing. It was basically log centralization. It was just send the logs, In fact, in the time, people were saying all you need is logs. That's all that it takes. But they were very much purely for compliance and incident response type of focus. So something has broken. Let's go and look at the SIM and let's track back through the logs. It was quite basic, but it's what we had. About 10 years later, it then became more. There was some machine learning, some automation orchestration built in. So we could start to find threats that might have been missed. We looked at UEBA, which is user and endpoint behavioral analysis. So suddenly we could track users and how they were doing things. We could track endpoints and what they were doing. And we could start adding that in based off of machine learning, etc. We help to facilitate response and remediation workflows. So we recommend, go and do this, pass this information to that provider, etc. Where we are now is a complete revolution of that with generative AI, where we're now able to say, let's drive these workflows and accelerate the teams. Let's use information to be able to inform our responses faster. Let's get to that root cause quicker. Let's detect the mean time to detection, MTDD metric, and let's respond faster as well. This also really helps us in addressing skills gaps. Because if you bring in new tooling, you're able to use AI to help you with writing scripts, with creating integrations, with remediation. You don't need to wait until your SOC analysts have skilled up or have done the appropriate training or have to go look something up. AI can help us solve those challenges. What that means for Elastic is we use something called generative AI, taking the alerts, the logs, the events, etc., incident response data into this, building it into your existing user workflows, of course, allowing you to anonymize, allowing role-based access control, tracking the usage of AI so that the costs don't get too high, and we can integrate with multiple LLMs to accelerate the response, to generate these queries, and to gain insight into attack patterns. But AI does come with some challenges, and you'll see these. We're looking at things like hallucinations or bad answers. So it gets a bit confused and it starts to give us things that aren't real. You could ask ChatGPT how to catch a unicorn, and it'll probably tell you to create a trap, etc., etc. There's a very complicated technology stack often powering these that isn't fully understood, what parts are hanging together, etc. There's a big concern about real-time access to private data. Employees knowingly or unknowingly sending sensitive information or restricted information through to publicly available AI, as well as security and privacy concerns. So how do we improve this? How does Elastic help you with this? We do it, if you look under the hood of our AI assistant, by allowing you to use the LLM of choice, including hosting your own if you want to. We do it by providing context around the prompt so that we minimize those hallucinations. We're not just taking what AI says, we're giving it some context around that using the Elasticsearch Relevance Engine. And what that context looks like is your business's data. So connecting in with any workflows you may have with relevant information and documentation to enable that. And again, that's what our attack discovery leverages. So when we see an attack, we take hundreds of your alerts, we run it through the AI engine with a prompt, plus running these alerts, unknown detections, other information that we may have, organizational information that we have, using some publicly available data in an LLM, such as MITRE ATT&CK, things like that, to throw out a handful of discoveries mapped across that MITRE ATT&CK framework, showing you the attacks that are happening. So condensing down those alerts that you get every single day into 3 or 4 relevant, actionable alerts. We haven't thrown them out. We haven't ignored them. We've just been able to correlate them to say, here's where the problem lies, and this is what you should do. So should an attack be progressing? Should we see the same behavior across multiple machines? Attack discovery will correlate those down and say, this is an attack that I've seen. It affects 10, 20, however many endpoints, this many users, and you can start to use the AI assistant to help guide that recovery and guide that remediation. Ultimately, what Elastic Security is doing is extended protection, AI-driven security analytics based around your data. So We underpin the threat research. Our Elastic Security Labs, these are elasticians that basically work 24/7 around the clock to write security detections. They write rules and alerts to help you. We have, I think it's nearly 1,200 out-of-the-box alerts that allow you to stay safe and to stay protected. And as you can see, we actually don't mind what you bring. You can use our protection. You could use another provider if you want to. You can bring your own data. We're exceptionally open. We're not looking to tie our users into a specific technology or a specific technology set. Obviously, the more you bring in, the more visibility you have. And that's where we're able to deliver that actionable context, irrespective of who you're using for your network, your user information, your threat intel, or your protection, etc. So with that, I think I've covered it off quite nicely. I'd like to then hand over to Anas, who's going to run us through attack discovery in action. He'll actually be running an attack. Sorry, not running an attack. He'll be taking the alerts and be able to correlate them all down and step us through what the AI assistant can do in Elastic. So with that, thank you so much for your time and for listening. I'm going to hand over to Anas.
Thank you very much, Roberto. Yeah, I've already ran those attacks so that I can run the attack discovery on that. But yeah, thank you very much, Roberto, for that insightful presentation. Hi, everyone. Once again, Anas here. I'm the solution architect for security at Elastic. And I'll be walking you through the demo today and showcasing some of the practical aspect of what Roberto has just discussed, basically. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them on chat as I'm walking through the demo. I won't be able to answer them as I'm doing the demo, but Roberto will be able to catch up with it. And once I'm done, if we have enough time available, maybe we'll hold a Q&A and walk those questions. So in this demo, we'll dive into the attack discovery feature, what Roberto was mentioning earlier within Elastic Security. And we have designed this particular feature or tool to streamline the work of the security analyst, right? By using the Gen AI. And as Roberto was mentioning earlier, it's a very powerful tool. It can significantly reduce the time and effort needed by the analyst to identify and understand those potential threats which is going on. So without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen. Roberto, please let me know if you can see the screen.
Yep, I can see it. Thank you.
Good. So guys, what you see on screen is Kibana, the UI of our platform, right? And as Roberto was mentioning earlier, you can run all your use cases on Elastic on the same platform and the same UI, right? So search, observability, and security, all of these use cases can be achieved from the same UI. You don't have to switch browser to configure different use cases, right? Same data, same platform. Now, the focus of this demo is going to be on security, right? So we'll walk into the security side and click on the alerts. Right, what you see on screen is the alert page within Elastic Security. And this is where all your alerts will be displayed, right? You will have all the information about your alert, such as the severity of the alert, the top alerts by count, and the alert by host name as well. So you can filter out different alert based on these metrics. You will have some more information about the alert, such as the the timestamp, the rule which has triggered this alert, the analyst who's working on this particular alert, and severity and the risk score. Now, an analyst will start his day walking through these alerts right on the screen, and he might pick up these alerts based on severity or based on the asset criticality, such as the username or host name which is involved, how critical these are for your organization. And they will start scratching their notepad, and they will try to correlate some information from one alert to other alert. Right? I've been there, done that. It's a very time-consuming job, and the biggest enemy of this is the false positive. Right? For this demo, to make it simple, I've put only 11 alerts. But in production environment, based on the size of your organization and the kind of implementation you have done, this number could vary. Right? And imagine going through hundreds of alerts every day, filtering out the false positive and stitching up stories by correlating the threat and building like an attack story. It's a very time-consuming job, and that is what we are trying to solve here with Elastic using Attack Discovery feature. So just after the alert section, you will have a tab called Attack Discovery. By the way, for those who are familiar with Elastic or already are Elastic customer, this feature is available from version 8.14, right? So if you are using any older version of Elastic, you won't be able to see this particular tab. To get this tab, you have to upgrade yourself to 8.14, right? Obviously, in the enterprise licenses, this feature will be available. And what you see on screen is, again, we try to make it very, very simple for you, right? We don't have much information or detail here. All we want you is to click on the generate button, right? By choosing the choice of your LLM. Okay. What it's going to do is it's going to take 20 alerts from the last 24 hours. You can change this up to 100 alerts for now, right? And you can send these alerts into the AI of your choice. And you can also pre-configure the LLM. And obviously, we support all kind of LLMs which is out there. For the government customers or customers who have air gap network, and if you want to use this feature, you can also host your own LLM locally, and you will be able to configure the connector for that and use Attack Discovery. All you have to do is just click on this generate button by choosing the LLM. I'm going to choose Sonnet 3.5 and click on generate, right? Now, depending on how many alerts we are sending and how many fields these alerts have, it's going to take from a few seconds up to 5 minutes. With the interest of time for this demo, I've already ran the Attack Discovery 7 minutes ago on these same alerts and same data, right? And as you can see, we have got the discovery back from the Attack Discovery, and we have some metrics available, right? So we found one discovery out of the 11 alerts we have seen, right? And obviously, it was generated 8 minutes ago. And we got a very nice title, basically summarizing as to what is happening, right? Potential cyber attack on a Windows and a Linux host. Then we have some key metrics about this alert, right? What are the artifacts involved, which are the host name. So we have the host name and the username, which is involved in this attack. You can also click on them and get further information if needed about that particular host as to when it was last seen, the IP address, MAC address, operating system, etc. Coming down further, you will see a nice detailed summary as to what is happening, right? I'm not going to go through and read everything what is going on, but if you can see this and if you can read this, you will know that how easy language we are using here to basically tell you what's going on, right? And you can see malicious file detected on a Windows host, and this is the host, right? Including the executable, and it has macro enabled Excel file, right? So Excel file was executed, it spawned another file, right? Then a network scanning happened on this host or from this host, and then further attack happened, right? If you go further down, we have also mapped the attack kill chain, basically just like your MITRE attack tactics, which is active on this discovery, right? So we are seeing execution happening, persistence happening, discovery, lateral movement, command and control, and even exfiltration also happening in this particular attack, right? If you want further information, right, about this, we have also aggregated all the alerts related to this discovery in this alert section. So for example, if you want more information about exfiltration as to which file is being sent, and if you want more information about that, you can just click on this view detail button for data exfiltration alert, and you can say, what, show me process argument field, because that's where I can see the command, the actual command, which was being run to exfiltrate the data. So now I know, what, loot.zip file was being sent, and this is location. So if an analyst wants to do further investigation and get more detail about this attack, obviously you can go to the alert. They have all the alerts available. Each and every detail of the alert can be accessed using this tab. I think it's very good, right? It's very powerful. For those who are already using Elastic and familiar with the timeline feature of us, we have also attached the timeline button, so you don't have to create those query if you're doing further investigation, right? Just click on the timeline and it's going to pop up the timeline. So timeline is basically an investigative work pad is what we call it, where you can investigate your attack, run certain queries, and visualize your data here and make notes if needed. All of that can be done. So for this particular discovery, we have also created the timeline, so you can work on this. And for example, if you want to create a query, you can just drag the username field and put it in the query tab, and it's gonna update the timeline for me, right? This is how easy it is to investigate using timeline. All right, so the attack discovery has given me a lot of information, right? It has given me all the path, what the attacker is following. Now, the next step is to document it and create a report out of it, right? We have also made it simpler for you to write a report out of the discovery. All you have to do is just click on the take action button and say, I want to create a case. Yes, Elastic do support built-in case management. And it has a lot of functionality from assigning cases to different team members, assigning severity, attaching cases, and basically pushing the similar alerts to your external ticketing system if you're using ServiceNow, Jira, or ManageEngine, right? So here I'm just gonna create a case out of this discovery. All I'm gonna do is just choose the severity. For me, it's a high severity, and I'm just gonna say create a case. Once that is done, I'll click on view case. And as you can see, a case has been created 4 seconds ago. And it has all that rich information which we have seen in the discovery, right? Gathering all the artifacts about the file information, the server information, the user information, the IP address, and so on and so forth. We have also attached all the relevant alerts again, right? So we said this is the investigation and these are the alerts. If you want to go further, let's say you have got the attack discovery feature and you've got the report back. Now you want to see how you can remediate that. So you can push this through into our AI assistant using this button called View in AI Assistant. And here, again, you can choose the LLM of your choice. And here you will see the discovery attached. You can click on the plus button. And now the discovery will be attached to the prompt you're typing, right? So now I can say, how would I remediate this? Would I remediate this? As you can see, we have got the response back, and this response is relevant to Elastic, right? You can isolate the host using Elastic endpoint. So it's saying, first thing you should be doing is isolate the host, then reset the compromised credential of a particular user, then conduct forensic analysis, monitor further activities, and the AI assistant is also giving me further queries related to Elastic, right? So the SRE or the relevance, what Roberto was discussing in his presentation, right? We're adding that into the LLM here, right? So any information you type here will be relevant to Elastic. It won't give you a very generic answer saying, just investigate this or isolate this. Along with that, it is also giving you information related to Elastic platform, right? So you can just take this query, run it, and you will find the relevant logs available. Okay, I can go ahead and I can add that also to my case. I'll click on this plus button and I will choose the case which I created 2 minutes ago. And with that, I'll go to the case again. And on the case again, I have the investigation report. I have all the alerts, and I have the response, the remediation steps also attached to this, right? And now I can go ahead and assign this case to a particular team member, or go ahead and close it, or I can push this case also to my external ticketing system. The last thing I just wanted to highlight here is the security feature, what Roberto was mentioning. So you can access that using this button called AI Assistant. Click on this gear button for settings, And here you have something called anonymization, right? So if you have certain logs or certain fields in your log, which is very critical to you, which is very sensitive, and you don't want to send these logs to the choice of your LLM, right? You have two options. Either you can choose to anonymize the value. So for example, if it is, if you have a field called username.anas, Anas is something you don't want to send to LLM, you can anonymize the value. So you can say username dot some token instead of Anas, right? So if you want that, you can just say user dot name, anonymize yes. Okay. There will be another cases where the field itself is very critical for you, right? It says, let's say, banking information, right? And you don't want to send the whole field to an LLM, right? You can also just say, I don't want to allow a field called username to be sent. So all of these can also be done using the airbag feature. And yeah, with attack discovery, you have seen how we are summarizing and doing the triage of the alerts within minutes and writing investigation report and taking responses as well. With that, I will conclude my demo. Guys, if you have any question, please feel free to put them on chat. Thank you. So we have
Thanks,
4
Anas.
minutes left. Yeah, thank you, Roberto. We have 4 minutes left. So if you guys have any queries, questions, feedback about what you have seen, we would love to have those. Thank you.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything on the Q&A. Oh, there's a question that's come through now. Does the free version not include attack discovery? Unfortunately not. The AI portion of it is covered by an enterprise license, but you are free to trial that. We do offer trial licenses for enterprise, etc., for your own testing and understanding as well. So
Yeah.
again, contact Data Group and they can put you in touch. We can help you with that as well. Thank you so much for the question. And also from my side, thank you everyone for attending. Thank you for your patience today. I appreciate it. Question here: what's the data that should be ingested in order to identify these anomalies? I mean, really, as we often say with Elastic, it depends, because the more that you've got in, the more informed your decision will be. If you've only got data from, say, an EDR or something, that's all that we could then correlate against. But if we were able to see things like network communication, if we were able to see, things that were offering user authentications, etc., you've obviously got then a more comprehensive view around users that potentially were tried to be attacked, or where the data was exfiltrated to, things that would give you more context over and above your endpoints. Okay, another question about, is Elastic Security as a managed SOC? So this was actually asked in the Q&A section. I did say we don't, as Elastic, offer a SOC service, but we have many partners that do. So again, speak with Data Group. They can put you in touch with some of our partners that could offer that. We have been used in many security operations centers and managed service providers. Given how we can architect and cross-cluster searching, etc., we are very flexible for MSSPs, but we don't, as Elastic, offer a SOC service.
Yep, we manage the we do manage platform services where you can just use the platform itself. So we have Elastic Cloud where you can just subscribe to the services, and we will give you the platform. But then management of your data, let's say monitoring your alerts and giving you reports, that is something we don't do. But yeah, you can reach out to our partners, because we have a lot of partners who are doing MSSP on our platform, and they will be able to help you with that.
How to arrange a one-on-one session to further query service with a rep? Contact Data Group. Yes, absolutely. Contact Data Group. They can help you, and they'll put you in touch with one of our account executives here, should they need further assistance. But that would be the best port of call. Again, you can also have a look at elastic.co, our website, to see what we do. We've got our license information there, all of our documentation, our different offerings and solutions, and obviously a contact us section as well. But we will be working through Data Group.
All right. I think it's best if we put our emails also on chat in case if anyone wants to reach out for any further queries or one-on-one session. Be more than happy to take it further from there.
I will also be including contact details in the thank you mailer when we send out the recording of this session.
All right.
Lovely. Thanks, Diane. All right, so that's 11 o'clock. Thank you. Thanks to Data Group for inviting us to do this. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the organization. Thank you to Anas for his time. Thank you very much, Diane, as well as Chibuzo. And I wish you all a very pleasant day and a good rest of the week further.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining. You have a great day.